I was thinking a lot lately about the death of boredom because I do think that for the most part, boredom has died, unfortunately. I often think about the world that my kids are growing up in and the one that they will ultimately go out into. And to be honest with you, I don't really like it. I don't like it very much at all. But the reality of the situation is they're growing up at a different time. And because of that, their childhood looks a lot different from mine and, everyone from generations past. Because these kids are growing up in the technological age. And I'm not so sure that's a good thing. I think there are many implications of that we won't even begin to fathom until it's already too late. And one of those, I feel, is the death of boredom. Because now we're at a time when everybody has, you know, a cell phone in their hand. And so no more boredom, right? Now you just see everybody just mindlessly scrolling on their phones, just getting a constant drip of dopamine that never really amounts to anything significant. And I don't know. As much as I would like to cut it all out and get back to, you know, the old ways, something more natural and authentic and organic and pure, I also realize that that's probably not what's best for my children because ultimately, as their parent, I want them to thrive, not just survive in this world that they go out into. And in order for them to thrive, they need to be very much acquainted and very adequate with this technology because that world out ahead of them is definitely a technological one. And I don't even think we can begin to understand the role of AI and what that world looks like with something like that in it. But regardless of all that, for sure, in order for them to go out and to take part in that world and to have a place in it and to hopefully someday find their purpose and meaning in their life, they're going to have to be able to do it where they are very well rounded with all of this technology and they have a very good understanding of it. So to cut them off from it, I just don't think it's a good idea. I think you'd be doing a major disservice to them by doing that. And so yeah, the more I got to thinking about it, I got to thinking about I wonder how many amazing things were created out of someone being bored. Because I was sure that surely there's all kinds of stuff that has come from people being bored. Because I remember myself being bored a lot growing up. And that wasn't necessarily a bad thing, was it? Because every time you were bored, that led to an action that ultimately led to something that was good and that would become part of who you are today. And so it's always through that boredom that drives ambition. It drives curiosity. It drives creativity. It drives so many things. And so when boredom dies, hopefully we find something else that can become that fuel so that all those things don't die right along with it. And so, like I said, I was curious as I got to thinking about it. Like, I wonder how many things were created by people who were just simply bored. And so I looked it up and I put together a list of the 10 things that I thought most people would be familiar with and know about and would find interesting. And so I'd like to go over that list with you here today. It's just a quick list of 10 things. So bear with me and we'll get through them here. And I think you will be surprised at what things have come from people who were simply bored. 1, silly putty. During World War II, James Wright accidentally created a strange elastic material while experimenting with rubber substitutes. Scientists passed the material around just playing with it because it was entertaining. Eventually, it became the toy Silly Putty, one of the most famous novelty toys ever. People were literally bouncing and stretching it out of curiosity and boredom before realizing it could be a product. Number 2, the Slinky. In 1943, Richard James accidentally knocked a tension spring off a shelf and he watched it walk down stacked books and he kept playing with it. And that playful curiosity, while he was bored, led to the toy Slinky. It wasn't planned. He was basically entertaining himself with the spring. Number 3, the song Yesterday, written and produced by Paul McCartney. McCartney woke up with a melody in his head and he spent time idly playing around with it on the piano while he was bored. At first, he used a placeholder, scrambled eggs, just messing around with the tune. Eventually, it became the famous song Yesterday by the Beatles. It started as aimless playing around with music while being bored. Number 4, the Frisbee. Students at Yale in the early 1900s started throwing empty pie tins from the Frisbee Pie Company bakery. And they yelled, "Frisbee!" so people would duck before catching it. The simple act of bored college kids tossing pie plates eventually inspired the modern Frisbee. Later mass produced by Whammo, a worldwide sport and pastime, came from students bored out of their mind, just killing time. Number 5, the Rubik's Cube. Erno Rubik originally built the cube in 1974 as a mechanical puzzle to entertain and challenge his students. He spent weeks playing with the cube himself, trying to solve it after scrambling it, and it became the global phenomenon, the Rubik's Cube, the best-selling puzzle in history, and it began as an intellectual toy to play with while he was bored. Number 6, Play-Doh. Originally invented as a wallpaper cleaner, Noah and McVicker and Joseph McVicker, teachers who discovered kids were playing with it in a classroom out of boredom during art time. Realizing this, the company rebranded it as the toy Play-Doh. The product pivot happened because bored kids started using it as a toy. Number 7, the first skateboard. In the 1950s, California surfers were bored out of their mind because there were no waves in the ocean. And so they attached roller skate wheels to wooden boards to surf the sidewalks. That boredom invention became modern skateboarding. The entire sport exists because surfer needed something to do when the waves were flat and they were bored. Number 8, the theory of gravity. I thought we'd throw this one in. Isaac Newton was essentially sitting around during a university closure caused by the plague in the 1660s. While resting under an apple tree, he observed an apple fall and began wondering why things always fall downward. That idle curiosity eventually led to his theory of universal gravitation. One of the most foundational ideas in physics came from a quiet moment of reflection out of a place of boredom. When the mind isn't overloaded, it can start asking deeper questions. And I would just add to that it's potentially just density, but that's a discussion for another topic. Number 9, the game of basketball. In 1891, students at the Springfield YMCA train school were bored and restless during winter. So James Naismith was tasked with inventing an indoor activity to keep them occupied. So he nailed peach baskets to the gym wall, and basketball was then born. Today, it's one of the largest sports on earth through leagues like the NBA. A global sport started simply because people needed something to do indoors while they were bored. And number 10, last but not least, the World Wide Web. Tim Berners-Lee, while working at CERN, Berners-Lee wanted a better way to organize and share information between researchers. The idea came from thinking, tinkering, and curiosity about linking documents together. This led to the creation of the World Wide Web in 1989. The modern internet started partly from a side project, exploring an idea while bored. And so, as you can see, boredom has historically created toys and sports and cultural trends and million-dollar novelty products and foundational theories that would ultimately lead to all kinds of scientific observation and breakthroughs simply from a place of boredom. But today, phones, they've destroyed boredom. And that constant stimulation, well, it replaces curiosity. And that curiosity typically would lead to all kinds of amazing things. And so, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think we'll ever know until it's too late, unfortunately. But if boredom disappears, we have to wonder what inventions, what creations, what things will never exist because of it. I don't know. That's a question only time can answer. But it's definitely something to ponder. Anyway, I thought it was something interesting. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. If you did, please like the video. And if you think anybody else in your circles may be entertained by it, please feel free to share it. And if you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel. I am Brad Casper. This is Casper's Corner. Until the next one, we're out.